I am so happy that you're able to join us for this extended interview. Make sure to visit theoffbeatlife.com. Again, that's theoffbeatlife.com to get more killer resources. Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming back to join us for the extended interview with Kristen, where she's going to share with us how to properly brand your business that will go along with your specific niche. Hey Kristen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you for joining us. Before we get to all of your incredible tips and tricks, can you tell us a little bit more about you and why you live an offbeat life?
Yeah, so my name's Kristen Brown, and I own a full-service ad agency in Columbia, Missouri, and we are women-led and driven, and we love what we do. We love helping brands kind of figure out who they're talking to and how to get that specific group of people to take action. And I would say I live an offbeat life because I love running my own business and also trying to develop work-life harmony where I feel like I can also be very dedicated to my family at the same time.
Well, that is a lot, and you're definitely doing it in a really great way. So let's get to your area of expertise. You're definitely someone we need to talk to when it comes to branding and marketing. What could somebody do in order to properly brand themselves?
So I think the first thing that, I would highly recommend is trying to figure out who you're for. So why you're trying to create change for other people. Why does the world need the service or the product that you're providing? And then just really zeroing in on who those people are. And that's where we get probably the most pushback from our clients or people that we're wanting to engage with, is just that they want to be for everybody. That's really hard for a lot of people that built a business or are trying to build a business that they're really proud of. And they kind of believe that, well, everyone would, who doesn't like to eat or who doesn't drive a car? And that's just, way too broad of an audience to try and go after and create change for. And instead you end up watering down your message to the point where you speak to no one. And so that's what I always use the analogy of Walmart. Walmart is a brand that can be for everyone, and they spend about $1 billion a year reaching a massive, massive audience. And so if you don't have that type of money, we're going to recommend that you zero in on your smallest viable market and go after them and try to speak to only them and serve only them. And that's going to make your brand much, much stronger.
It seems like a really easy thing to do is to narrow down, but how can you actually do that? How do you find which one you should really focus on?
Well, I think you have to figure out, where your values align. For us, we specifically go after female entrepreneurs and female business owners or female CMOs. And lots of times those women have been burned maybe by working with a group of people that they didn't feel heard. But that doesn't mean that we don't work with a ton of men. I mean, people ask me that all the time. Like, do you guys work with men? I mean, of course we do. But I would say that we bring in the right type of men. So even though we are marketing to women, it's not like we have a sign on the door that says like, no men. The messaging that we are putting out there is speaking to the kind of male business owner or male CMO that is going to be attracted to that type of voice and that marketing. Like right on our homepage, it says we're a female-led design agency. And so we want to work with other owners or, like I said, marketing directors who think that's a good thing, whether they're male or female.
Yeah, I think it's definitely really realizing what you're drawn to and what you would be excited to be working with or working on that will help you specifically narrow down that niche, because you obviously can't be excited about everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's just a challenge for people to say, when we dive into someone's target market, we actually come up with we call them the brand advocate, and we really personify that person. What car do they drive? How much money do they make? What does their family look like? What part of the country do they live in? What are their values? And that allows us to narrow in on what would motivate them to take action. And so it starts there. And I think that if people would dig into the brands that they really, really associate with, they would find that that's what these people are doing. Trader Joe's has a very specific target market, even though, a very diverse group of people go to Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is focusing on one person. Nike, I think, is a great example of a really powerful brand that wasn't afraid to take a stand. I mean, that's something that we say all the time too, is be a brand that takes a stand. We want to work with brands that want to take a stand. We want to work with brands that believe that they're changing the world. And so I think Nike went out on a limb, and they have multiple times, knowing that they're going to offend some people. And that's okay, because they don't have to be for everybody. And that's what I would encourage even very small businesses to do.
Now, let's talk about how you can actually speak to that specific market and how they can take action after you have led them there, right? Whether to your website, your course, whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, well, what we recommend people do, we have a product that we call the brand manual, where we identify who your target market is and how to speak to them with what we call one-liners. So this is not campaign. We're not developing a campaign for you. We're trying to develop messaging architecture for your brand. So kind of like the heartbeat of your brand. And we're going to come up with an external one-liner, an internal one-liner, and a belief statement to help guide your communication moving forward. And that's where, again, I think a lot of businesses, they want to invest in tactics, but not strategy. So we hear a lot like, I just need a website. I need social media. But what you really need is strategy, guiding that website and that social media so that it's consistent and it's in one voice, and you're targeting the same group of people again and again to create that know, like, and trust that people are looking for.
That is a really hard thing to do, especially for somebody who is starting out with their business, and even for people who have been doing it for a while, right? And they're struggling. And you're right. Usually it's because we don't have a strategy. Kristen, do you have your top 3 that you have seen works time and time again for most businesses?
I mean, I would say the strategy, I would argue, is going to be highly personalized for everybody. So, we work with a lot of brands, and even brands that do similar things. And we would want them all to have very unique strategy, because usually the target is different. We might work with, for example, last year we worked with 2 kind of home goods companies, e-commerce home goods, and they just had very different targets. One was like a 28-year-old mom, one was a 45-year-old woman. And so the strategies are going to be very different, speaking to those 2 very different people who have different values. And then as far as the tactics go, you want those to be so driven by your strategy. So where does a 28-year-old mom live and work and play? Where is she online versus that 45-year-old? That's going to look very different too. So those tactics need to be different.
Perfect. Well, those advice are so incredible, and they're very crucial when you are creating that specific niche that you definitely want to go for with your business. Thank you so much, Kristen, for joining us today and giving us all of these incredible advice.
Yes, yeah. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
If our listeners want to know more about you, where can they find you?
So you can find us on our website at hootdesignco.com. We also have a podcast, profreshpodcast.com. You can find us on Instagram at Hoot Design Co. or at Profresh Podcast. And of course, all our other social media handles are on our website as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this extended interview with Kristen. Make sure to visit theoffbeatlife.com. Again, that's theoffbeatlife.com to get the full interview where she shares how she was able to transform her struggling business to become a leading online advertising agency. Thanks for joining me on this extended interview. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. We can also chat some more on Facebook at The OB Live. I'll talk to you soon.